Kate Morrison pressed her face against the cold metal of the observation scope and watched the empty sky above her hidden base. 3 months had passed since Earth Command sent her to this lonely outpost on the edge of human space. 3 months of silence, 3 months of waiting, 3 months of following the same order every single day. Stay hidden no matter what happens. The base looked like nothing more than scattered rocks and dead ground from above. The aliens had flown over it dozens of times without stopping to look closer. Kate knew this because she watched them through her sensors every time they passed. The Zephyrian Empire controlled almost every human world now. Earth was the last free planet, and places like her base were the only eyes humanity had left in the darkness. Kate climbed down from the observation deck and walked through the narrow halls of her underground home. The base was much bigger than it looked from outside. Hidden beneath the fake rocks were 3 levels of rooms, machines, and weapons that could fight off a small army. But her orders were clear. Never fight unless Earth itself was under direct attack. Watch, listen, record, and stay alive. She stopped at the communication center and checked the daily reports from other hidden bases across this sector of space. Most days the reports were the same. Enemy patrols moving in predictable patterns, supply ships following the same routes. Nothing new to worry about. But today something felt different. The usual morning patrol from the Zephyrian base on Kepler 7 was 3 hours late. Kate pulled up the star charts on her main screen and traced the patrol route with her finger. The aliens were very careful about timing. Their ships always left at the same time, flew the same path, and returned exactly when expected. A 3-hour delay meant something had changed. Maybe they found something. Maybe they were preparing for something bigger. She walked to the food station and heated up another meal pack. The food tasted like cardboard, but it kept her alive, and that was all that mattered. Kate had been a pilot before the war started. She loved flying fast ships through asteroid fields and racing other pilots around space stations. Now she sat alone in a hole in the ground, watching enemy ships fly where human ships used to go. The war had started 2 years ago, when the Zephyrian Empire decided that humans were taking up too much space in the galaxy. They had better weapons, bigger ships, and more soldiers than humanity could ever hope to match. World after world fell to their invasion fleets. Millions of humans died or disappeared into alien prison camps. The lucky ones escaped to Earth or joined the resistance fighters hiding in the outer systems. Kate was not supposed to be here alone. The original plan called for a team of 6 people to run this base, but the transport ship carrying the other 5 team members was destroyed by alien fighters just 2 days before Kate arrived. Earth Command decided to send her anyway. One person could run the base if they were careful, and Kate had always been very good at being careful. She returned to the communications center and sent her daily report to Earth Command. The message was short and simple. No unusual activity, all systems working normally. Request permission to investigate the delayed patrol route. She knew what the answer would be before she sent it. Earth Command always said the same thing. Maintain position, avoid detection, continue mission. Kate had been alone for so long that she sometimes talked to the base computer just to hear another voice. The computer was programmed to respond to basic questions and commands, but it was not built for conversation. Still, it was better than complete silence. She asked it about the weather outside, and it told her that snow was falling again. She had not seen snow in 3 months. The base had one small window in the upper level that could be opened for 30 seconds at a time without triggering the alien sensors that swept this area twice a day. Kate climbed up to the window and opened it just long enough to see the white flakes falling on the gray rocks outside. The air was cold and clean and reminded her of home. Earth was covered in snow when she left for this mission. Her little sister Jenny had made her promise to come back for Christmas. That was in September. Now it was December, and Christmas was still 2 weeks away. Kate wondered if she would ever see Jenny again, or if the aliens would find Earth before she could return home. She closed the window and went back to work. The sensor array needed daily maintenance to keep working properly. Kate checked each sensor one by one, cleaning the lenses and calibrating the detection systems. This equipment was the most advanced technology humanity had ever built. It could detect alien ships from 3 star systems away and record every detail about their weapons, shields, and crew size. The information Kate gathered here was sent to resistance fighters across the galaxy through a network of hidden relay stations. Human ships used her data to avoid alien patrols and plan surprise attacks on enemy supply lines. Her lonely watch in this hidden base was helping keep the human race alive, even if she never fired a shot. As evening came, Kate prepared for the night shift routine. The aliens usually increased their patrol activity after dark. She never understood why, since their ships had sensors that worked just as well in daylight. But they seemed to prefer flying at night. Maybe it reminded them of their homeworld, or maybe they thought it made them harder for humans to spot. Kate settled into the command chair and activated the long-range sensors. The screen filled with dots of light representing ships, space stations, and other objects moving through nearby star systems. Each dot had a color code: blue for human ships, red for confirmed aliens, yellow for unknown contacts. Tonight the screen was almost entirely red. She counted 47 alien ships within sensor range. Most were small patrol craft or cargo ships, but 3 of the dots were much larger than the others. Kate focused the sensors on the big ships and felt her heart skip a beat when she saw what they were. Battle cruisers. The kind of ships the aliens only used for major military operations. Kate grabbed the communication microphone and started to send an emergency report to Earth Command. Then she stopped. Her orders were to stay hidden unless Earth was under direct attack. These ships were still 3 star systems away from Earth. They might be heading somewhere else entirely. If she broke radio silence now, the aliens might detect her transmission and find the base. She put down the microphone and kept watching. The 3 battle cruisers were moving slowly but steadily toward Earth. Behind them, more ships were gathering. Kate watched in growing fear as the number of red dots on her screen doubled, then tripled. This was not a patrol or a supply run. This was an invasion fleet. The night passed slowly as Kate watched the alien fleet grow larger. By morning, there were over 200 enemy ships gathered in the neighboring star system. All of them were pointing toward Earth. Kate knew she should report this immediately, but her training held her back. Wait for confirmation, her instructors had always said. Make sure you know what you are seeing before you act. At dawn, the fleet began to move. 200 alien ships started their journey toward Earth, and Kate knew that her world had maybe 3 days before the attack began. She reached for the communication microphone again, but a new alarm stopped her. Local proximity sensors were detecting something much closer to her base. Kate switched to the short-range sensors and saw 6 alien ships approaching her position. They were small scouts, the kind used for detailed exploration of planets and moons. They were flying in a search pattern, and they were headed straight for her base. Kate realized with cold terror that her hiding place was about to be discovered. She ran to the weapon control station and powered up the defensive systems. Hidden gun turrets around the base came online and targeted the approaching scouts. Kate could destroy all 6 ships before they knew what hit them, but firing would definitely reveal her position to the main invasion fleet. Every alien ship within 10 star systems would know exactly where she was. Kate stared at the weapon controls and tried to decide what to do. She could follow her orders and stay hidden while the scout ships found her base, or she could fight and warn Earth that the invasion was coming, even if it meant certain death. The 6 alien ships were now only 10 minutes away from her position. She looked at the main screen showing the massive invasion fleet heading toward Earth. 200 ships carrying enough firepower to destroy every city on her homeworld. Earth Command needed to know about this fleet. The resistance fighters needed time to prepare. Her little sister Jenny needed someone to warn her that the aliens were coming. Kate made her choice. She activated the communication system and began broadcasting on all emergency frequencies. Her message was simple and direct. Massive alien invasion fleet approaching Earth. Prepare all defenses immediately. Then she grabbed the weapon controls and prepared to fight for her life. The 6 scout ships were now close enough for her to see them through the optical sensors. They looked like metal sharks with glowing engines and bristling weapon ports. Kate had never killed anyone before, but she was about to kill 6 alien pilots who were just doing their job. She wished there was another way, but the survival of humanity was more important than her conscience. Kate pressed the firing button and watched 6 streams of energy leap out from her hidden guns. The alien scouts exploded one after another in brilliant flashes of light. For a moment, the sky. Captain Alex Carter stared at the message on his screen and felt his blood turn cold. Kate Morrison's emergency transmission had arrived at Earth Command just 20 minutes ago, and already the entire facility was in chaos. Officers ran through hallways shouting orders, while alarm bells rang throughout the underground complex. The message was clear. A massive alien invasion fleet was heading for Earth. Alex had been Kate's commanding officer since she graduated from the academy 3 years ago. He knew her better than most people, and he trusted her judgment completely. If Kate said 200 enemy ships were coming, then 200 enemy ships were coming. The question now was what Earth could do to stop them. The Defense Council was already meeting in the main conference room when Alex arrived. General Patricia Brown sat at the head of the table looking grim, while other military leaders argued about deployment strategies and evacuation plans. Alex took his seat and waited for someone to ask the obvious question. How long did they have before the aliens arrived, Doctor? Lisa Hayes was the first person to speak when the room finally became quiet. She was the head of Earth's Advanced Weapons Research Program, and she looked like she had not slept in weeks. Her hair was messy and her clothes were wrinkled, but her eyes were bright with excitement. She stood up and activated the main display screen. A screen showed technical drawings of something that looked like a giant energy bubble surrounding a spaceship. Dr. Hayes pointed to different parts of the diagram as she spoke. The breakthrough they had been working toward for months was finally ready for testing. The new shield technology could make human ships nearly invulnerable to alien weapons. Alex had heard rumors about the shield project, but he had never seen the actual design before. The technology was based on captured alien equipment that resistance fighters had stolen from an enemy research station 6 months ago. Human scientists had been working around the clock to understand how it worked and how to make it better, Doctor. Hayes explained that the shields created a field of energy around a ship that could absorb or deflect almost any type of weapon fire. The original alien version was powerful, but had a major weakness. It could only protect one ship at a time, and it drained enormous amounts of power. The human version was different. It could protect multiple ships while using much less energy. The problem was time. Dr. Hayes needed at least 48 hours to install the shield generators on Earth's defense fleet. The alien invasion force would arrive in approximately 60 hours if they maintained their current speed. That gave them less than 24 hours of safety margin and no room for mistakes or delays. General, Brown asked the question everyone was thinking. How many ships could be equipped with the new shields in 48 hours? Dr. Hayes checked her notes and gave them a number that made Alex's heart sink. Only 12 ships could be ready in time. Earth's entire defense fleet consisted of 36 ships, and most of them would have to fight without the new protection. Alex thought about Kate, sitting alone in her hidden base watching the alien fleet approach. She had given Earth advance warning and bought them precious time to prepare. Now it was up to everyone else to make sure her sacrifice meant something. He asked General Brown for permission to send a message to Kate's base. The general nodded and Alex walked to the communication station. He knew Kate was probably still alive because her base had continued sending sensor data for several hours after the first emergency message. The aliens had not found her yet, but they were getting closer. Alex wanted to tell her that help was coming, but he was not sure that was true. Alex typed a short message telling Kate to hold her position and continue gathering intelligence on the enemy fleet. He did not mention the SHIELD project, because alien forces might intercept the transmission. He did tell her that Earth Command had received her warning and was preparing a response. Alex hoped Kate would understand that her mission was not over yet. While Alex sent his message, Dr. Hayes was explaining the SHIELD technology to other members of the Defense Council. The energy field worked by creating a layer of charged particles around a ship that could absorb the impact of enemy weapons. Lasers and plasma cannons became much less effective against a shielded target. Even kinetic weapons like missiles did reduce damage. The real advantage of the human version was that multiple ships could share power to maintain the shield field. A group of 12 shielded ships could protect each other and fight as a single unit. The aliens would find it much harder to destroy ships that could repair their shields by working together. Alex listened to the technical discussion, but his mind kept returning to Kate's situation. Her base was designed to stay hidden, not to fight a major battle. She had some defensive weapons, but nothing that could stop a determined attack by a large enemy force. The aliens would find her eventually, and when they did, she would be badly outnumbered. The Defense Council spent the next hour planning Earth's response to the invasion. Admiral Robert Kane would command the defense fleet from the battleship Constitution. The 12 ships with new shields would form the primary battle group, while the other 24 ships provided support and backup. It was not much of a plan, but it was all they had, Alex volunteered to coordinate intelligence gathering during the battle. Kate's base was still sending valuable information about enemy ship movements and weapons capabilities. Other hidden outposts across the sector were also reporting in with data about alien reinforcements and supply lines. Earth Command needed to process all this information quickly and get it to Admiral Kane. Dr. Hayes left the meeting to supervise installation of the shield generators on the defense fleet. She had teams of technicians working in 3 shifts to meet the 48-hour deadline. Alex knew she had not slept more than a few hours in the past week, but she refused to rest until the job was finished. Alex went to his office and pulled up Kate's personnel file on his computer. She had always been one of his best officers, smart and brave and completely reliable. Her parents had died in an alien attack on the colony world New Boston 2 years ago. Her sister Jenny was the only family she had left, and Jenny lived here on Earth. Alex made a note to contact Jenny if Kate did not survive the next few days. Someone would need to tell her what had happened and why her sister had chosen to fight instead of run. Alex hoped he would not have to make that call, but he wanted to be prepared for the worst possible outcome. The hours passed slowly as Earth prepared for war. Engineers worked frantically to install shield generators, while supply crews loaded ammunition and fuel onto the defense ships. Medical teams prepared field hospitals for the wounded soldiers who would surely come. Everyone knew this might be humanity's last battle. Alex returned to the communication center every few hours to check for new messages from Kate's base. Her reports continued to arrive on schedule, filled with detailed information about enemy ship positions and movement patterns. The alien fleet was still approaching Earth, but they had slowed down significantly. Alex realized the aliens were being more careful now that they knew humans were watching them. Kate's attack on the scout ships had surprised them and made them worry about other hidden bases in the area. The main fleet was now scanning every planet and moon along their route, looking for more surprises. This was good news for Earth, because it gave Dr. Hayes more time to work on the shield installations. But it was bad news for Kate because it meant the aliens were taking the threat more seriously. They would send more ships to find her base, and they would not make the same mistakes as the first scout patrol. Alex decided to send another message to Kate with updated information about Earth's defense preparations. He could not tell her about the shield technology, but he could let her know that the defense fleet was ready to fight. He also wanted to thank her for the intelligence data she had been sending. Kate's reply arrived 30 minutes later, and it made Alex smile for the first time in days. She reported that she was well supplied and ready to continue her mission for as long as necessary. She also mentioned that it was snowing outside her base and that it reminded her of home. Alex remembered that Kate had grown up in the mountains of Colorado where it snowed every winter. The message ended with a request that surprised Alex. Kate asked him to tell her sister Jenny that she was thinking about her and that she would try to come home for Christmas if possible. Alex realized that Kate understood how dangerous her situation had become, but she was still thinking about her family. Alex immediately sent a message to Jenny Morrison at her apartment in Denver. He did not tell her that Kate was in danger, but he did pass along her sister's message about Christmas. Jenny wrote back within minutes saying she would wait for Kate no matter how long it took. Alex did not have the heart to tell her that Kate might never come home by the end of the second day. Dr. Hayes announced that 10 of the 12 shield installations were complete. The last 2 ships would be ready within 6 hours, well ahead of the alien fleet's expected arrival time. Alex felt a small surge of hope as he watched the defense ships move into position around Earth. Admiral Kane held a final briefing for all ship commanders before the battle began. He explained the shield technology and how the ships would work together as a unit. The aliens had superior numbers and firepower, but humanity had the advantage of fighting. And Kate woke up to the sound of alarms screaming through her hidden base. She rolled out of her narrow bunk and ran to the main control center where red warning lights flashed across every screen. The long-range sensors were detecting something massive approaching from the outer edge of the star system. Kate rubbed her eyes and tried to focus on the sensor display. What she saw made her stomach drop. The screen showed hundreds of contacts moving in perfect formation toward her position. This was not the usual morning patrol of 6 or 8 ships. This was a fleet larger than anything she had seen during her 3 months of watching this sector of space. Kate quickly counted the ships on her screen and felt her hands start to shake. Over 400 alien vessels were approaching in a coordinated formation that stretched across thousands of miles of space. Battle cruisers, troop transports, fighter carriers, and support ships moved together like a giant metal storm cloud blotting out the stars. She activated the communication array and tried to contact Earth Command, but something was wrong with the signal. Static filled her headphones and the transmission indicator showed red instead of green. Kate ran through the system diagnostics and discovered that powerful alien jamming equipment was blocking all long-range communications. Kate realized that this was not just another patrol or supply convoy. The Zephyrian Empire was moving its main battle fleet through the star system, and they did not want anyone reporting their movements. The jamming field was so strong that it was interfering with her own sensors, making it hard to get accurate counts and ship classifications. She switched to passive sensors only and began recording everything she could detect about the approaching fleet. Even with limited sensor capability, Kate could see that this was the largest military force the aliens had ever assembled in this part of the galaxy. The lead ships were already entering the outer edge of her star system. Kate climbed up to the optical observation post and looked through the high-powered telescope that could track objects in space. At maximum magnification, she could actually see the alien ships as tiny points of light moving against the background of stars. There were so many of them that they looked like a swarm of glowing insects. The ships were arranged in a complex formation that Kate had never seen before. 3 groups of heavy cruisers formed the center of the fleet, while smaller ships spread out in protective screens around them. Fighter squadrons flew in precise patterns between the larger vessels like guard dogs protecting their masters. Kate grabbed her binoculars and climbed up to the emergency observation dome that extended just above ground level. She could only use this position for a few minutes at a time because it was visible to alien sensors, but she needed to get a better look at what was happening above her base through the dome's armored glass. Kate could see the sky filling with points of light as the alien fleet moved overhead. Ship after ship passed above her hiding place, each one large enough to destroy entire cities. The sound of their engines created a constant rumble that shook dust from the walls of her underground shelter. Kate counted the ships as they passed and tried to identify their types and capabilities. Heavy cruisers with massive weapon arrays, troop transports that could carry thousands of alien soldiers, support ships loaded with ammunition and supplies for a long campaign. This was not just a battle fleet, it was an invasion force. She quickly returned to the control center and began transmitting on emergency frequencies, hoping that someone might receive her messages despite the jamming. Kate sent the same basic information over and over. Massive alien fleet moving through Sector 7, estimated 400+ ships. Formation suggests major military operation. The alien formation was so large that it took over an hour for all the ships to pass through the outer edge of the star system. Kate watched in growing alarm as the fleet changed course and began heading directly toward the inner planets where Earth was located. There was no longer any doubt about their destination or their intentions. Kate tried to estimate how long it would take the fleet to reach Earth at their current speed. The aliens were moving slowly, probably to maintain formation integrity and avoid detection by long-range sensors. She calculated that they would arrive at Earth in approximately 60 hours if they maintained their current pace. She activated the emergency beacon that would send an automated distress signal to Earth Command, but the alien jamming was too strong for the signal to get through. Kate realized that she might be the only person who knew about this invasion fleet, and she had no way to warn anyone about what was coming. The base's food synthesizer chose that moment to break down completely, leaving Kate with only emergency rations that would last for maybe 10 days. The water recycling system was also showing warning signs that it might fail soon. Kate had been alone in this base for so long that some of the equipment was starting to wear out from lack of proper maintenance. She decided to risk using the high-power transmitter that was normally reserved for absolute emergencies. The transmitter was powerful enough to punch through most jamming, but it would also reveal her position to any alien ships equipped with direction-finding equipment. Kate hesitated for a moment before activating the system. Her message was brief and direct. Alien invasion fleet approaching Earth, 400 ships, arrival in 60 hours. Request immediate assistance. Kate repeated the message 3 times before shutting down the transmitter and hoping that someone had received it. She had just revealed her location to save her home. Kate returned to the sensor station and watched the alien fleet continue its journey toward Earth. The ships were now close enough for her detailed scanners to analyze their weapon systems and defensive capabilities. What she found made her realize that Earth's defense forces would be badly outmatched in any direct confrontation, the alien cruisers carried energy, weapons that were at least 50% more powerful than anything in the human fleet. Their armor was thicker, and their shields were stronger than the best human technology. Most disturbing of all, Kate detected several ship types that she had never seen before, suggesting that the aliens had been developing new weapons. Kate spent the next several hours cataloging every detail she could gather about the enemy fleet: ship sizes, weapon loadouts, engine signatures, communication frequencies, formation patterns, and anything else that might help Earth's defenders prepare for the coming battle. Her hidden base had become humanity's only source of intelligence about this massive threat, as the alien fleet moved deeper into the star system. Kate noticed that they were deploying scout ships to investigate planets and asteroids along their route. The scouts moved in groups of 6, using powerful sensors to scan for any signs of human activity. Kate realized that it was only a matter of time before they found her. She watched through her sensors as one group of scouts approached the asteroid field where her base was hidden. The aliens were being very thorough, scanning each rock and checking for any unusual energy signatures or artificial structures. Kate powered down all non-essential systems to reduce her base's sensor profile. The scout ships came closer and closer to her position, while Kate held her breath and watched their search patterns. They were using a grid system that would eventually cover every square mile of the asteroid field. Kate estimated that they would reach her hiding place in approximately 4 hours at their current search rate. Kate made a difficult decision. She activated the base's defensive systems and prepared for battle. Hidden weapon turrets emerged from concealed positions around the asteroid, while targeting computers locked onto the approaching scout ships. Kate had been ordered to stay hidden, but she could not let the aliens discover Earth's location. The scout ships were now only 2 miles away from her base, and their sensors were getting stronger. Kate could see the aliens through her optical systems, 6 ships moving in perfect formation, while they searched for any sign of human presence. She placed her finger on the firing control and waited for them to come within range. Kate thought about her sister Jenny waiting for her to come home for Christmas. She thought about Captain Carter and the other officers at Earth Command who were depending on her intelligence reports. She thought about all the humans who would die if this invasion fleet reached Earth without warning. The lead scout ship passed directly over her base, and Kate saw its sensors suddenly spike as they detected the artificial structures hidden beneath the asteroid's surface. An alien voice began transmitting on multiple frequencies, probably reporting the discovery to the main fleet. Kate had run out of time and choices. She pressed the firing button and watched streams of energy leap out from her hidden weapons. The first scout ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light, while the other 5 immediately began evasive maneuvers. Kate's targeting computer tracked the fleeing ships and destroyed 3 more before they could escape weapons range. 2 scout ships managed to get away, and Kate watched them race back toward the main fleet at maximum speed. They would report her position and bring back reinforcements with I. The sky above Kate's base turned black as hundreds of alien ships blotted out the stars. She had never seen so many enemy vessels in one place, and the sight filled her with a mixture of terror and determination. Through her optical sensors, she could watch individual fighters peeling away from the main formation like deadly metal birds preparing to dive on their prey. Kate's hands moved quickly across the control panels as she brought all defensive systems online. Hidden turrets emerged from concealed positions around her base, while energy shields activated to protect the most critical equipment. The base had been designed to fight off a small patrol, not an entire invasion fleet, but Kate was determined to make the aliens pay for every inch of ground. The first wave of enemy fighters screamed overhead at tremendous speed, their engines creating sonic booms that shook her underground shelter. Kate tracked them through her targeting systems and waited for them to come within range of her weapons. She knew that once she started shooting, there would be no going back. 20 alien fighters suddenly broke formation and dove toward her position. Kate's defensive computers identified them as Zephyrian Talon-class interceptors, fast and heavily armed ships designed for attacking ground targets. She had studied these fighters during her months of observation and knew their capabilities well. Kate activated her point defense system and watched streams of energy leap out to meet the approaching fighters. Her first shots caught 2 aliens by surprise and sent them tumbling toward the asteroid surface in balls of flame. The other 18 fighters immediately began evasive maneuvers and returned fire with their own weapons. Alien plasma bolts struck the ground around Kate's base, turning rock into glowing lava and filling the air with deadly fragments. Kate felt the base shake as near misses sent shockwaves through the hidden structure. Her defensive screens flickered but held against the enemy barrage. More fighters joined the attack as word spread through the alien fleet that they had found the hidden human base. Kate watched her sensor screen fill with red contacts as squadron after squadron of enemy ships converged on her position. She was facing at least 200 fighters, with more arriving every minute. Kate switched her defensive turrets to automatic mode and let the computer systems handle the rapid targeting required to fight so many enemies at once. Energy beams and missile trails filled the space above her base as human and alien weapons exchanged deadly fire. The sky became a light show of destruction and death. 3 alien fighters managed to get past her outer defenses and began strafing runs directly over the base entrance. Kate manually controlled one of her heavy turrets and tracked the lead fighter as it dove toward her position. She led the target carefully and fired at exactly the right moment. The alien fighter exploded just 50 feet above the base, raining burning debris down on the hidden entrance. Kate's blast doors held against the impact, but she could see on her damage control screens that several external sensors had been destroyed. She was slowly being blinded by the constant attacks. Kate realized that the aliens were not trying to destroy her base quickly. They were probing her defenses and testing her capabilities while the main fleet moved into position. She was facing a coordinated attack by professional military forces, who wanted to capture her equipment intact if possible. A new group of ships appeared on her sensors, much larger than the fighters she had been battling. Kate identified them as Zephyrian assault shuttles designed to land troops on hostile planets. Each shuttle could carry 30 alien soldiers equipped with heavy weapons and assault armor. Kate knew that if the aliens landed troops near her base, she would be overwhelmed within minutes. Her defensive turrets were designed to fight aircraft, not ground forces. She had to stop the shuttles before they could deploy their deadly cargo of enemy soldiers. She activated her long-range missiles and targeted the incoming assault shuttles. Kate had only 12 heavy missiles left, and there were at least 20 shuttles approaching her position. She would have to make every shot count if she wanted to prevent a ground assault on her base. Kate fired 6 missiles at the lead group of shuttles and watched the weapons streak across space toward their targets. The aliens immediately began defensive maneuvers, but the missiles were too close and too fast for them to avoid. 4 shuttles exploded in brilliant fireballs while 2 more were damaged and forced to retreat. The remaining shuttles spread out and approached from different directions, making it harder for Kate to target them all. She fired her last 6 missiles and managed to destroy 3 more shuttles before they could reach landing range. But 7 alien shuttles were still approaching, and Kate had no more long-range weapons. Kate switched to her close-range defense system and prepared to fight the landing shuttles with point defense turrets. The aliens came in fast and low, using the asteroid's irregular surface to shield themselves from her sensors. Kate caught glimpses of them through her optical systems as they maneuvered between the rocks. The first shuttle landed about half a mile from her base and immediately began disgorging alien troops. Kate could see the enemy soldiers through her periscope as they deployed heavy weapons and began advancing toward her position. They moved with military precision and obvious combat experience. Kate activated the automated defense drones that had been hidden in the asteroid field around her base. 6 small flying robots emerged from concealed positions and began attacking the alien ground forces with machine guns and small missiles. The drones bought her a few more minutes, but they were quickly overwhelmed. More shuttles landed, and Kate found herself facing over 100 alien soldiers advancing on her position from multiple directions. Her remaining turrets could slow them down, but could not stop such a large ground force. Kate knew that her base would be overrun within the hour. She made a desperate decision and activated the base's self-destruct system. If the aliens wanted her equipment, they would have to settle for a pile of radioactive debris. Kate set the countdown timer for 30 minutes, giving herself enough time to transmit one final report to Earth. Command Kate climbed to the communication center and activated the emergency transmitter one last time. She knew the aliens would detect the signal and pinpoint her exact location, but it no longer mattered. Her message contained detailed information about alien troop strengths, weapon capabilities, and tactical procedures. As she transmitted her final report, Kate could hear the sound of alien weapons firing just outside her base. The enemy soldiers were blasting their way through the outer defensive barriers and would reach the main entrance within minutes. Kate grabbed a rifle and prepared to make her last stand. The base's defensive screens flickered and died as alien engineers disabled the power generators. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows through the corridors, while the sound of cutting tools echoed from the main airlock. Kate positioned herself at a choke point where she could control access to the critical areas of the base. Kate thought about her sister, Jenny, and hoped that Earth Command would be able to use the information she had gathered to defend their homeworld. She thought about Captain Carter and the other officers who had trained her for this mission. Most of all, she thought about all the humans who would die if the alien invasion succeeded. The main airlock exploded inward, and alien soldiers poured through the breach. Kate opened fire with her rifle and cut down the first 3 enemies to enter her base. The aliens immediately took cover and began advancing more carefully. Using grenades and heavy weapons to clear each room, Kate fell back deeper into the base, fighting a running battle against overwhelming odds. She had studied the alien soldiers through her sensors and knew that they were larger and stronger than humans, but she also knew that they had never faced a human who was fighting for her home and family. The self-destruct countdown reached 10 minutes as Kate made her final stand in the main control room. Alien soldiers surrounded the room while their officers demanded her surrender through loudspeakers. Kate answered by destroying the main computer with her rifle, denying them access to 3 months of intelligence data. Kate Morrison had been ordered to stay hidden, but the time for hiding was over. She had watched the enemy for months and learned their weaknesses. Now she was teaching them that humans would fight to the death rather than surrender their freedom. The alien invasion fleet had found her base, but they were learning that some humans could not be conquered. The countdown timer showed 5 minutes remaining when Kate fired her last shot and prepared to meet whatever fate awaited her. She had done everything possible to warn Earth about the coming invasion. Now it was up to others to carry on the fight. The sky above her base was filled with hundreds of alien ships, but Kate had proven that one human with courage and determination could make a difference. The Zephyrian Empire was about to learn that humanity would never stop fighting for their right to exist in the galaxy. Kate crouched behind an overturned table in her control room as alien soldiers moved through the corridors of her base. The self-destruct countdown showed 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining, but the enemy troops were getting closer to her position with each passing moment. She could hear their voices speaking in the harsh, clicking language of the Zephyrian Empire. The lead alien soldier appeared in the doorway of the control room, and Kate shot him twice in the chest before he could raise his weapon. The enemy trooper fell backward into the hallway while his companions shouted warnings and took cover. Kate had maybe 20 rounds left in her rifle, and there were at least 50 aliens in her base. Kate heard the distinctive sound of alien scanning equipment being activated somewhere in the base. The enemy forces were not just searching for her, they were analyzing her technology and trying to understand how her hidden observation post had remained undetected for so long. Kate realized that the aliens might learn enough to find other human bases. She made a difficult decision and activated the emergency data purge system that would erase all computer files and sensor records from her base. The information she had gathered about alien ship movements and tactical patterns was too valuable to let fall into enemy hands. Better to destroy it than let the aliens use it against other human outposts. The data purge would take 90 seconds to complete, which meant Kate had to hold her position for another minute and a half, while the countdown timer showed less than 2 minutes remaining. She could hear alien troops moving through the base's ventilation system, trying to find alternative routes to her location. Kate noticed movement on one of her remaining security monitors and saw alien engineers working frantically to disable the self-destruct system. They had found the main power core and were using cutting tools to access the control circuits. Kate realized that these aliens were much smarter than she had expected. She grabbed a grenade from her emergency supplies and prepared to throw it toward the power core room. If the aliens disabled the self-destruct system, they would capture her base intact along with months of intelligence data about human defensive positions. Kate could not let that happen. The alien engineers were protected by a squad of soldiers who immediately opened fire when they saw Kate emerge from the control room. Enemy plasma bolts sizzled past her head as she threw the grenade down the corridor toward the power core. The explosion shook the entire base and plunged several sections into darkness. Kate, the security monitors went dark, but she could hear the aliens shouting in confusion as emergency systems activated throughout the base. The self-destruct countdown was still running, but she was not sure if the grenade had caused enough damage to prevent the aliens From stopping it, Kate decided to check the power core room personally and grabbed her rifle before leaving the relative safety of the control room. The corridor was filled with smoke and debris from the grenade explosion. She could see alien soldiers moving through the haze, their weapons ready to fire at any target. Kate moved carefully through the damaged hallway, using the smoke as cover while she approached the power core room. She could hear alien voices speaking urgently, probably reporting the explosion to their commanders outside the base. The enemy troops sounded worried about something. She reached the entrance to the power core room and saw why the aliens were concerned. Her grenade had not just damaged their equipment, it had cracked the main power conduit that supplied energy to the entire base. Alien engineers were trying to reroute power while sparks showered down from damaged circuits. Kate realized that she had accidentally given herself a new opportunity. If she could cause a major power failure, it would not only ensure that the self-destruct system completed its cycle, it would also prevent the aliens from using any of her equipment. She raised her rifle and aimed at the main power junction. The alien engineers saw her at the same moment and began shouting warnings to their guards. Kate fired 3 quick shots into the power junction and watched electricity arc across the room as circuits overloaded and systems shut down. The base was plunged into complete darkness except for the glow of emergency lighting. Kate heard alien voices calling for backup and technical support as their troops tried to restore power to the base. She smiled grimly as she realized that the enemy forces were now trapped in an unfamiliar maze of dark corridors, while a self-destruct system counted down toward detonation. The hunters had become the hunted. She used her knowledge of the base layout to move through the darkness toward the emergency exit that led to the surface. Kate had always planned for this possibility and had memorized every corridor and junction in case she needed to escape in an emergency. The aliens would need hours to map the base properly. Kate reached the emergency ladder that led to the surface airlock, just as the countdown timer reached 30 seconds. She climbed as quickly as possible while alien voices echoed through the base below her. The enemy soldiers had finally realized what was about to happen and were trying, desperately, to find their own way out. Kate emerged onto the asteroid surface and ran toward a small emergency shelter that was hidden about 200 yards from the main base entrance. The shelter was stocked with survival supplies and communication equipment that would allow her to continue her mission. Even if the base was destroyed, she reached the shelter with 10 seconds to spare and dove through the entrance just as the base exploded behind her. The detonation lit up the asteroid field like a small sun and sent shockwaves racing across the surface. Kate felt the ground shake beneath her as her hidden home was reduced to radioactive debris. Kate climbed to the observation window of the emergency shelter and watched alien ships circling the remains of her base. The explosion had been much larger than expected and had probably killed most of the enemy soldiers who were still inside when the countdown reached 0. The alien fleet commander was obviously angry about losing his troops and began ordering his ships to search the entire asteroid field for any other hidden installations. Kate watched dozens of alien fighters spread out to investigate every rock and crevice within a 10-mile radius of the explosion site. Kate activated the emergency communication system and tried to contact Earth Command. The alien jamming was still active, but the emergency transmitter was designed to punch through most interference. She needed to report that her base had been destroyed but that she was still alive and operational. Her message was brief and direct. Base destroyed. Alien invasion force delayed. Continuing mission from backup position. Kate knew that Earth Command would understand that she had sacrificed her main installation to prevent the aliens from capturing valuable intelligence about human defensive capabilities. Kate checked her supplies and found that she had enough food and water for maybe 5 days. The emergency shelter was much smaller than her main base and had only basic sensors and communication equipment. She could still observe enemy ship movements, but she could not conduct the detailed analysis that had made her report so valuable. The alien search teams were getting closer to her emergency shelter, and Kate knew that they would find her within hours if she stayed in one place. She made the difficult decision to abandon the shelter and try to reach one of the other hidden supply caches that were scattered throughout the asteroid field. Kate gathered her essential equipment and prepared to leave the shelter that had saved her life. She strapped on a portable sensor pack and took enough supplies for 3 days of survival on the asteroid surface. The rest would have to be left behind when she moved to a new hiding place. As she prepared to leave, Kate noticed something strange happening with the alien fleet. Instead of continuing toward Earth, the ships were holding position around the destroyed base and seemed to be waiting for something. Kate realized that her attack had disrupted their invasion schedule more than she had expected. Kate decided to use her portable sensors to monitor the alien fleet from a safe distance. While she moved between hiding places, the information she could gather about their delay might be just as valuable as her original intelligence reports about their ship capabilities and tactical formations. She left the emergency shelter and began making her way across the asteroid's surface toward the nearest supply cache. The alien search teams were thorough, but they were looking for large installations, not a single human moving carefully between the rocks. Kate used her knowledge of the terrain to stay ahead of their search pattern. Kate Morrison had lost her base, but she had not lost her mission. The alien invasion force was still a threat to Earth, but their schedule had been disrupted and their confidence had been shaken. One human with determination and courage had proven that the Zephyrian Empire was not invincible. The discovery of her base had cost the aliens valuable time and soldiers, while teaching them that humans would fight to the death rather than surrender. Kate was still alive, still watching, and still reporting everything she could learn about the enemy force that threatened her home world. The aliens had found her hiding place, but they had not found her. Kate would continue her mission from the shadows, while Earth prepared to defend itself against the largest invasion force ever assembled by the Zephyrian Empire. Kate moved carefully across the rocky surface of the asteroid, her portable sensors tracking the movements of alien search teams as they combed through the debris field where her base had been. She had been on the surface for 6 hours now, and the enemy forces were getting closer to her position with each sweep they completed. The alien fleet had split into 2 groups after the destruction of her base. Half the ships continued toward Earth, while the other half remained behind to hunt for any surviving human installations in the asteroid field. Kate counted over 100 enemy vessels still searching for her, including specialized ships equipped with deep scanning equipment. Kate reached the first supply cache and found it exactly where she had hidden it 3 months ago. The cache contained food, water, ammunition, and a more powerful communication transmitter that could reach Earth Command despite the alien jamming. She quickly set up the transmitter and began broadcasting her status report. Earth Command responded within minutes, and Kate felt a surge of relief when she heard Captain Carter's voice coming through her headphones. He reported that her intelligence about the alien invasion fleet had reached Earth safely and that defensive preparations were underway. The home fleet was moving into position to intercept the enemy force. Kate updated Captain Carter on her current situation and the fact that approximately half the alien fleet was still searching the asteroid field instead of proceeding to Earth. This was valuable information because it meant that Earth's defenders would face fewer enemy ships than originally estimated. Captain Carter asked Kate if she could continue to monitor the alien search operations and report on their tactics and equipment. Kate confirmed that she had enough supplies to maintain surveillance for several more days if she remained mobile and avoided direct contact with enemy patrols. Kate signed off and began moving toward the next supply cache while keeping her portable sensors focused on the alien search teams. She noticed that the enemy forces were using a systematic grid pattern that would eventually cover every square mile of the asteroid field. They were being very thorough but also very predictable. She decided to use their predictability against them and began planning a series of hit-and-run attacks that would disrupt their search pattern while gathering more intelligence about their capabilities. Kate had studied alien tactics for months, and she knew their weaknesses as well as their strengths. The first opportunity came when a group of 6 alien fighters flew a routine patrol pattern that took them directly over her position every 30 minutes. Kate set up a portable missile launcher at a choke point between 2 large asteroids and waited for the fighters to return on their next pass. When the alien fighters approached her position, Kate fired 2 missiles and watched them streak toward the enemy formation. The first missile destroyed the lead fighter, while the second damaged another ship and forced it to retreat. The remaining 4 fighters immediately began searching for the source of the attack. Kate had already moved to a new position by the time the alien fighters reached her original firing point. She watched through her binoculars as enemy troops landed near the abandoned missile launcher and began examining the area for clues about who had attacked them. The aliens found the launcher, but they also found something else that Kate had left for them. A small explosive device detonated when they tried to move the equipment, killing 3 enemy soldiers and destroying their landing shuttle. Kate smiled grimly as she watched the survivors call for backup. The alien search teams became much more cautious after Kate's first attack, but they also became more predictable as they implemented additional safety procedures. Kate used this predictability to plan her next strike against a supply convoy that was bringing fuel and ammunition to the search teams. Kate positioned herself along the convoy's route and waited for the alien supply ships to pass through a narrow canyon between two large asteroids. When the convoy entered the canyon, Kate triggered a rock slide that she had prepared using small explosive charges. The falling rocks damaged two supply ships and blocked the canyon. The alien convoy was forced to take a longer route to reach their destination, which delayed their operations and gave Kate time to set up another ambush at their alternate route. She was beginning to understand how to fight a guerrilla war against a superior enemy force. Kate's hit-and-run tactics were having an effect on alien morale as well as their operational efficiency. The enemy commanders were forced to assign more ships to protective duties instead of search operations. Each attack made them more nervous and less willing to take risks. After 3 days of constant harassment, the alien fleet commander made a decision that surprised Kate. Instead of continuing the search for her, he ordered his ships to rejoin the main invasion force that was approaching Earth. Kate had succeeded in disrupting their schedule and reducing their confidence. Kate watched through her sensors as the alien ships began leaving the asteroid field in groups of 10 or 20. Within 6 hours, only a small patrol force remained behind to monitor the area. The main search operation had been called off and Kate had won her first major victory against the Zephyrian Empire. She activated her communication transmitter and reported the alien withdrawal to Earth Command. Captain Carter was pleased to hear that the enemy force approaching Earth would be smaller than expected. But he also warned Kate that her situation was still dangerous. The remaining alien patrol ships were equipped with more sophisticated sensors and were conducting a different type of search operation. Instead of looking for hidden installations, they were now hunting specifically for Kate and any other humans who might be hiding in the asteroid field. Kate realized that she had become a target of special interest to the alien command structure. Her successful attacks had proven that humans could fight effectively against superior enemy forces, and the aliens wanted to capture or kill her. Before she could cause more problems, Kate decided to change her tactics and began moving deeper into the asteroid field, where the rocks were larger and the hiding places were better. She also started using decoy transmissions to confuse the alien direction finding equipment and make it harder for them to track her movements. The game of cat and mouse continued for another 2 days while Kate monitored the progress of the main alien fleet toward Earth. Her portable sensors could detect the massive battle that was taking place in the space around her home world, but she could not determine who was winning. Kate was checking her sensors late one evening when she detected something that made her heart race with excitement. A group of human ships had entered the asteroid field and were searching for her position. Earth Command had sent a rescue mission to extract her before the final battle began. Kate activated her emergency beacon and began broadcasting her location to the approaching human ships. She recognized the lead vessel as the destroyer Defiant, one of the fastest ships in the Earth fleet. Captain Lisa Torres commanded the Defiant, and Kate had served under her before the war started. The rescue operation was completed within an hour, as Kate was picked up by a shuttle from the Defiant. As she lifted off from the asteroid where she had hidden for so long, Kate looked back at the debris field that marked the location of her destroyed base. She had held this position against impossible odds and had lived to tell about it. Captain Torres briefed Kate on the current military situation as the Defiant raced toward Earth. The alien invasion fleet had been met by Earth's defense forces in a massive battle that was still raging around the outer planets. The new shield technology had proven effective, but the outcome was still uncertain. Kate provided Captain Torres with detailed information about alien tactics and capabilities that she had learned during her months of observation and her recent combat experiences. This intelligence would be valuable to Earth's fleet commanders as they continued to fight the largest space battle in human history. As the Defiant approached the battle zone, Kate could see hundreds of ships engaged in deadly combat across millions of miles of space. Human and alien vessels exchanged devastating fire, while fighters and missiles filled the darkness between the fleets. The fate of humanity was being decided in this epic confrontation. Kate Morrison had survived her lonely vigil in the asteroid field and had proven that one human with courage and determination could make a difference against overwhelming odds. She had fought the enemy alone for days and had lived to bring valuable intelligence to Earth's defenders. The battle for humanity's future was reaching its climax, and Kate was ready to rejoin the fight. She had learned that humans could defeat the Zephyrian Empire if they were willing to sacrifice everything for their freedom. The war was far from over, but Kate had shown that humanity would never surrender. Kate stood on the bridge of the destroyer Defiant and watched the largest space battle in human history unfold on the main viewing screen. Hundreds of ships from both fleets were locked in deadly combat, while energy beams and missile trails created a deadly light show across the darkness of space. She had never seen anything so beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Captain Torres pointed to a group of human ships that were fighting in perfect formation near the center of the battle. Those 12 vessels were equipped with the new shield technology that Dr. Hayes had developed using captured alien equipment. The shields were working exactly as designed, allowing the human ships to absorb massive amounts of enemy fire while continuing to fight. Kate watched in amazement as alien plasma bolts struck the shielded human ships and simply disappeared into the energy field surrounding each vessel. The aliens were pouring tremendous firepower into the human formation, but they could not break through the defensive screens that protected Earth's most advanced warships. The alien fleet commander was clearly frustrated by his inability to destroy the shielded human ships and was throwing more and more vessels into the attack. Kate counted over 50 enemy cruisers focusing their fire on just 12 human ships, but the shields held against everything the aliens could throw at them. Captain Torres explained that the shield technology had one major limitation that made the current battle extremely dangerous for humanity. The shields required enormous amounts of power to maintain, and the human ships could only keep them active for a limited time. If the battle lasted too long, the shields would fail and Earth's fleet would be destroyed. Kate studied the tactical display and realized that the battle was turning into a test of endurance between human shield technology and alien firepower. Whichever side could maintain their advantage longer would win the fight and determine the fate of both civilizations. The communication system crackled to life, and Kate heard Admiral Kane's voice, broadcasting to all human ships in the fleet. He was calling for one final coordinated attack that would decide the outcome of the battle. Every human vessel would concentrate their fire on the alien command ship while the shielded ships provided cover. Kate watched the human fleet execute Admiral Kane's plan with precision that would have made their instructors proud. Ships that had been fighting independently suddenly moved into attack formation and began advancing toward the massive alien dreadnought that served as the enemy flagship. Alien command ship was 3 times larger than any human vessel and carried enough firepower to destroy entire planets. Its shields were stronger than anything the aliens had ever built, and its weapons could reach targets at impossible distances. Kate knew that destroying this ship would require every weapon in the human fleet. The 12 shielded human ships moved to the front of the formation and absorbed the defensive fire from hundreds of alien vessels, while the rest of Earth's fleet prepared for their attack run. Kate could see on the tactical display that several human ships were already showing damage from the intense fighting. Captain Torres received orders to take the Defiant on a reconnaissance mission to gather intelligence about alien defensive positions around their command ship. Kate volunteered to operate the ship's sensors during this dangerous assignment because her experience with alien technology would be valuable. The Defiant raced through the battle zone while Kate analyzed the alien command ship. Through the most powerful sensors in the human fleet, she discovered that the enemy flagship had a weakness that no one else had noticed. The shield generators were located in exposed positions where they could be targeted by precision weapons. Kate immediately transmitted this information to Admiral Kane and watched as human ships began adjusting their attack patterns to focus on the alien shield generators. The first direct hits caused visible damage to the enemy flagship and encouraged the human pilots to press their attack even harder. The alien fleet began to panic as their command ship came under concentrated fire from the entire human fleet. Enemy ships that had been fighting in organized formations suddenly broke ranks and rushed to defend their flagship. This gave the human fleet the opportunity they had been waiting for. Kate watched the tide of battle turn as human ships exploited the confusion in the alien ranks. Ships that had been on the defensive suddenly went on the attack, while the aliens struggled to reorganize their forces. The careful discipline that had made the alien fleet so dangerous was breaking down under pressure. The alien command ship's shields finally failed under the concentrated fire from dozens of human vessels. Admiral Kane immediately ordered all ships to focus their heaviest weapons on the exposed flagship while alien fighters desperately tried to screen their command vessel from further damage. Kate felt the Defiant shake as alien weapons fire struck the ship's hull, but Captain Torres kept the destroyer in position to provide sensor data for the final attack. Kate could see through her instruments that the alien flagship was taking massive damage and would not survive much longer. The alien command ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light that could be seen from one end of the battle zone to the other. The explosion was so powerful that it destroyed several nearby alien ships and sent shockwaves racing through both fleets. Kate had to shield her eyes from the intense glare. The destruction of their flagship had an immediate effect on alien morale throughout the fleet. Ships that had been fighting with fanatic determination suddenly began retreating toward the edge of the star system. The disciplined alien formation dissolved into chaos as individual captains decided to save themselves. Admiral Kane immediately ordered the human fleet to pursue the retreating aliens and prevent them from regrouping for another attack. Kate watched as Earth ships chased the enemy vessels across the star system, destroying stragglers and capturing ships that surrendered rather than face certain destruction. The battle was over within 2 hours of the flagship's destruction, but the war would continue as human ships spread across the galaxy to liberate the worlds that had been conquered by the Zephyrian Empire. Kate knew that this victory was just the beginning of humanity's fight for freedom. Captain Torres announced that the Defiant had been assigned to join the Liberation Fleet that would attack alien bases throughout human space. Kate requested permission to remain aboard as an intelligence officer, using her knowledge of alien tactics to help plan future operations against enemy strongholds. Kate thought about her sister, Jenny, waiting for her on Earth, and realized that she might not make it home for Christmas after all. But she also knew that the fight for humanity's future was more important than any personal plans she might have made. The communication system brought news that Earth Command was promoting Kate to the rank of Major in recognition of her service during the defense of the homeworld. Her intelligence reports and her successful resistance in the asteroid field had contributed directly to humanity's victory in the largest battle of the war. Kate Morrison had been ordered to stay hidden and watch for enemy activity, but she had chosen to fight when fighting was necessary. Her courage and determination had helped save Earth from invasion and had proven that humans would never surrender their freedom to any alien empire. The Defiant joined the Liberation Fleet and began its journey toward the first target on their list. Kate took her position at the sensor station and prepared to help liberate the human colonies that had been enslaved by the Zephyrian Empire. The war was far from over, but humanity was no longer fighting just to survive. Kate looked out at the stars and thought about all the humans who were waiting for liberation on distant worlds. She had learned that one person could make a difference if they were willing to sacrifice everything for what they believed in. Now it was time to carry that lesson to the rest of the galaxy. The Last Stand had become the first victory in humanity's march to reclaim their rightful place among the stars. 6 months after the great battle that saved Earth, Major Kate Morrison stood on the observation deck of the battleship Victory and watched human ships spread across the Kepler system like a wave of liberation. The same star system where she had once hidden in fear was now filled with Earth's most powerful warships as they prepared to free another human colony. The war against the Zephyrian Empire had changed completely since the destruction of the alien invasion fleet. Instead of fighting desperately to survive, humanity was now on the offensive and winning battle after battle as they reclaimed the worlds that had been stolen from them. Kate had become one of the most valuable intelligence officers in the human fleet because of her detailed knowledge of alien tactics and technology. Every liberation mission benefited from her expertise as human commanders learned to exploit the weaknesses she had discovered. During her months of observation, the colony world of New Terra had been under alien occupation for 18 months when the Liberation Fleet arrived in the system. Kate's sensors detected over 40 alien ships defending the planet, along with ground forces that numbered in the thousands. It would be the largest liberation operation attempted so far. Admiral Kane commanded the Liberation Fleet from the bridge of the Victory, while Kate provided real-time intelligence about alien defensive positions and probable enemy responses to human attacks. Her experience fighting alone against impossible odds had taught her to think like the enemy and predict their moves. The battle began when human fighters swept through the outer system and destroyed alien sensor stations that had been monitoring approaches to New Terra. Kate watched the tactical display as Earth ships moved into attack formation while alien forces scrambled. To respond to the sudden assault, the alien commander made exactly the mistake that Kate had predicted he would make. Instead of keeping his fleet together for a coordinated defense, he split his forces and tried to protect multiple targets at the same time. This allowed Admiral Kane to concentrate his attack on the weakest enemy positions. Kate coordinated the intelligence-gathering effort as human ships engaged alien forces throughout the New Terra system. Her network of reconnaissance vessels provided detailed information about enemy ship movements and weapon capabilities while the main fleet pressed their attack. The aliens had learned to fear human shield technology since their defeat at Earth, but they had not developed effective countermeasures against it. Kate watched with satisfaction as alien plasma bolts disappeared harmlessly into the energy fields surrounding Earth's most advanced warships. The space battle lasted only 4 hours before the surviving alien ships retreated to hyperspace and abandoned the colony to its fate. Kate immediately began analyzing sensor data to determine where the defeated enemy vessels might regroup for another attack. Admiral Kane assigned Kate to coordinate the ground liberation operation while human troops landed on New Terra to free the colonists who had been enslaved by the alien occupation forces. Kate used orbital sensors to track alien ground units and provide targeting information to human assault teams. The liberation of New Terra was completed within 2 days as alien resistance collapsed throughout the system. Kate stood on the surface of the freed world and watched human colonists emerge from hiding places where they had survived 18 months of brutal occupation. Among the freed colonists was Dr. Patricia Wells, a scientist who had been forced to work on alien weapons research during the occupation. Dr. Wells brought valuable intelligence about new alien technologies that the Zephyrian Empire was developing. To counter human shield systems, Kate debriefed Dr. Wells personally and learned that the aliens were working on a new type of weapon that could penetrate human shields by using rotating energy frequencies. This information was immediately transmitted to Earth Command, where Dr. Hayes and her team began developing countermeasures. The Liberation Fleet moved on to their next target, while Kate continued to refine her intelligence-gathering techniques. Each successful operation taught her more about alien psychology and helped her predict enemy behavior with increasing accuracy. 3 months later, Kate participated in the liberation of the industrial world of New Manchester, where human resistance fighters had been waging a guerrilla war against alien occupiers for over a year. The resistance leaders were amazed to meet the legendary Major Morrison, who had fought alone against an entire alien fleet. Kate shared her tactical knowledge with the resistance fighters and helped them plan more effective operations against alien supply lines and communication centers. The combination of orbital support and ground resistance proved devastating to alien control of the planet. The liberation of New Manchester took only 1 week as alien forces found themselves under attack from multiple directions simultaneously. Kate had learned to coordinate space and ground operations with a precision that made human liberation forces nearly unstoppable. Kate received a message from Earth Command informing her that her sister, Jenny, had graduated from the military academy and was requesting assignment to the Liberation Fleet. Kate was proud of her sister's decision to join the fight, but she was also worried about Jenny's safety in combat. Admiral Kane granted Kate's request to have Jenny assigned to the Victory as a junior communications officer. Kate looked forward to working with her sister and sharing the experiences that had shaped her own understanding of warfare and sacrifice. The Liberation Fleet continued its advance across human space, freeing world after world from alien occupation. Kate's intelligence reports became legendary throughout the fleet as her predictions about enemy behavior proved accurate time after time. Kate developed new techniques for psychological warfare that exploited alien fears and weaknesses. She discovered that the Zephyrian Empire was struggling with morale problems as their military forces realized that they were no longer facing desperate human defenders but confident human liberators. The aliens began abandoning some worlds without fighting when they learned that Major Morrison was part of the approaching liberation force. Kate's reputation as the human who had defied an entire alien fleet had spread throughout enemy ranks and was becoming a powerful weapon in itself. 1 year after the Great Battle at Earth, Kate stood on the bridge of the Victory as the Liberation Fleet approached the alien stronghold of Zephyr Prime, the capital world of the enemy empire. The final battle of the war was about to begin, and Kate would play a crucial role in planning humanity's ultimate victory. Kate had been ordered to stay hidden when the war began, but she had chosen to fight when fighting was necessary. Her courage and determination had inspired an entire generation of human warriors who refused to accept defeat or surrender their freedom. The young woman who had once watched alien ships from a lonely observation post had become one of the most important military leaders in human space. Kate Morrison had proven that heroes are not born. They are forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the strength of their convictions. As the Victory entered the Zephyr system, Kate activated her sensors and began the intelligence-gathering operation that would determine the fate of both civilizations. The aliens had taught humanity that the universe was a dangerous place, but humans had taught the aliens that some species could not be conquered. Kate looked out at the stars and thought about all the human worlds that had been liberated through courage and sacrifice. The war would soon be over, but the lessons learned during the fight would guide humanity as they claimed their rightful place as one of the galaxy's great civilizations. The order to stay hidden had become an order to advance, and Major Kate Morrison was ready to lead humanity to final victory over the Zephyrian Empire. The stars belonged to those who were brave enough to fight for them, and humanity had proven that they were the bravest species in the galaxy.